in. Ramin, are you with me?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone on Zoom as well as on YouTube Live. Good morning, everybody. I was muted. Hello, Vernisha. Can you hear me okay?
Guys, can you hear me on Zoom?
Okay, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I think your sound is down, Vern.
Something is wrong with my computer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Forensic Warriors. We're live on Zoom, we're live on YouTube, and it's going to be intense call. It's going to be intense call.
Well, good evening to you, Ramin. Now I can hear you. I think I had a glitch on my system.
No worries, no worries. All right, we're on YouTube as usual. When everybody gets on, you click the subscribe button, like, comment, share the link right away with all your people. It's going to be an interesting call. And this call doesn't have to be for network marketers. Anyone who's interested about economy, politics, this is a good call for that. We're going to be talking about a lot of world economic matters that are important, and why MLM is the answer to all of it. Why MLM is the answer to all of it. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. Again, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and share the link with a couple of people. We're live on video on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Back to you, Vern.
Recording in progress.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday again. I know it's Wednesday for some of you around the world. I want to tell you a massive good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you if you are in my same time zone, especially for those of you in Canada and the USA that are freezing right now. I send some home to you all the way from St. Lucia. My name is Felicia Charles Jones, ambassador with Opulence Global, or what we call now. I am a lifestyle director, but I love the word ambassador because I represent not just my country, but my region with Opulence Global, and represent Opulence Global in my country and in my region. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is where we sit back, we listen, we learn, and we get inspired to action. We get to understand why our forensic network of Ramin Resgalo sat in his basement 16 years ago and decided to draft out what we today call home. His why has evolved over the years. And as it evolves, not just the why evolved, but the company has evolved massively. And tonight, as he just introduced before we went into recording, MLM is the answer for it all. What does that mean? It means that you stay tuned. It means that you stay on. It means that you take away all your distractions tonight. You put your headphones on. Make sure you're in a room that nobody can come in and distract you. Get your coffee, get your tea, whatever it is that will keep you awake and alert, and get your notepad and pen and pencil and begin to take notes. Ramin, I will take no more time to you until I get back to you to the end.
Thank you so much, Vern. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Wow. Are you paying attention to what's going on in the world? I hope you are. All right. A lot has happened over the past 20, 30 years, but last 2 years, everything accelerated so much. I'm always seeking answers. You know, I'm a researcher. So the last 30 years, I've been researching health and nutrition. That's where we are so ahead of the rest of the world because, you know, we've done a lot of research. So the best researchers in-house when it comes down to health and wellness. When it comes down to business, I've been in this business for 32 years. You know how the forensic networker is very intense and advanced is because hence in forensic, I dig in to find the truth about everything. There's a lot going on right now that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It doesn't matter what country you're in. I know in this country, we'll probably have 30 countries on the call tonight, maybe more. But there's always a lot going on. Doesn't matter wherever you are, there are things that just doesn't make any sense. And, you know, although I've seen so much and researched so much last 30 years, there's still things that doesn't make any sense to me. And then as you seek those answers and you be able to piece different pieces of information together, then clearly becomes a flow of where things are going. I've always said we live in someone else's world. Let's not fool ourselves, right? We live in someone else's world. Someone else, decides what we eat, how we drive, how much we earn. It just if you can eat. We found that during the pandemic that all the liberties we thought we had, like being able to go out what we want, we found out no, we don't have those. We found out we can't even have access. We don't have control of our own homes. It's your home. You thought you had you had full control, but then we found that you can't. Your own mother can't even visit you because there's a lockdown. You thought you had a business and you had control over that. You found nope, you couldn't go to work. You couldn't open. That was lockdown. If we found out now you don't even have access to your own body, they can ask to do whatever they want. So getting into the business side of things, and we're going to come around why MLM is so much bigger than you think, how much bigger than you know. And the number one thing, we just did that video, who we are in the opulence. And if you have to, and the last question was, if you had to choose one word to describe opulence, and the word I used was freedom. And many people use the exact same word. And let me just tell you a little bit about what's going on in the world, because I'm always about. I have a son. I have a 13-year-old, and I'm so worried about his future. He's obviously very privileged, right? But I'm always so worried about his future because the way things are going, and it's really accelerated. We find now the governments of the world use some type of excuse to continuously change all the laws and make life a lot more difficult. In 911, 22 years ago, they changed all the securities laws. Even today, you go to the airport, some of those laws they put in back in 911 are still there. We don't have any threats, but they constantly, restricting us, right? It's almost like they want to remind us that we're not the bosses, that they're the bosses, right? During the pandemic, there was a whole bunch of new stuff that came out. So I'm always worried about, the future. And I won't be here too long. So I'm not, it's not me. I care about people. I care about my son. I care about the next generation. Kids are very close to my heart. And so this whole thing that's going on right now, the place I go to is a World Economic Forum, because going back even 15 years ago when Henry Kissinger was talking, a lot of junk he said didn't make any sense to me. And I don't trust. They make all the rules, and I don't trust who they are, because when you look at the World Economic Forum, then it starts to make sense why we go through what we go through right now. So let's talk about who are these people. The World Economic Forum, it's you've heard of a G7 or G20 where the heads of states get together, right? So the presidents and vice presidents get together. The World Economic Forum is them plus all the big billionaires of the world. These are the biggest, wealthiest people in the world, Bill Gates of the world. They get on and they decide what's best for us. They decide what's best for us. That by itself is kind of funny, isn't it? At the end of the day, they're not robots. They're people. They're human beings just like you and I. Everything they would do, feel, is based on it's based on two emotions. This is part of forensic networker teaching. Everything we do, every decision you make during the course of the day, every decision is based on two emotions: fear and greed. That's it. Fear and greed. You eat because you either greed, you love the taste, or you're stuck in the jungle and you have to eat the bug that you're disgusted by. But if you don't eat it, then you have a fear you'll die. At the end of the day, every decision during the day you make is about fear and greed. If you don't want to go to work. If you don't go to work, then you get a fear of getting fired. So every decision you make in the day, doesn't matter what it is. I want to make coffee. Well, it's greed. It's wanting. The word greed is not a bad word, by the way. I know people use it in the wrong context. Oh, greed means that you want more than you need. It's not a bad word, right? You don't need a coffee, but you want one, right? So I use the word fear and greed because That's pretty much every decision that human beings make. Now, people in the World Economic Forum, they're also human beings. They're not machines. So we have this few hundred people, top billionaires of the world, and they decide what's best for the world. They decide what's best for us. Like who's part of them? Google, Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, Microsoft, Bill Gates of the world. They decide what's best for us. They're sitting in a room. You know what they're thinking? They're thinking, how can I forward my agenda? Because their emotions are the same as yours and mine. Fear and greed. That's what drives the human beings. And this is, so they're sitting there, there's a couple of hundred people, and they decide what's best for us. Now, if you follow them, and you should, because I think it's important that, we watch something other than, I don't know, I don't even watch TV to make an example. The last time I was going to say, I didn't forget it. I was going to say Al Bundy. That's how long it's been since I watched TV. Okay, so you're going to have to. Some of you guys are going to laugh now because that's like 30 years ago. But point is that you really have to research, and research is not listening to your local news. That's not research, because local news is ours. Doesn't matter if it's publicly or it's the state news. They're all state run. Why? Because even the private ones are funded grants by the government. So never get your information, never get information from this news, because that's just what the government wants you to see, right? So I would say YouTube is my best friend. Although YouTube is starting to censor a lot of stuff, but still, you have a lot of good information. YouTube is a great place to go. So the World Economic Forum in 2020, ironic that right in the middle of beginning of the pandemic, right? They had their annual meeting, and all of this stuff, you can just Google it and see it. And actually, they have a YouTube channel you can get on. And guess what? What's the title of the meeting? Now, when I say it, if this was an actual fact, you'd say, well, maybe, Ramin's one of those guys as, that he's, but this is the actual title. And the title is The Great Reset. 2020 meeting. So just go on YouTube and The Great Reset, World Economic Forum, boom, it just pops up. The Great Reset. Now, there's about 50 videos they got out there, short videos, and some of them sounds pretty good. Some of them say, oh, well, we got to take care of the environment. They say this junk, right? Take care of the environment. Yet this year, the opening speaker was Xi Jinping, the president of China. Of course, we know they're the number one polluters in the world. So they say something, but then obviously they want to get us to like them, thinking that they have the right agenda, but they don't mean all the. They talk about the billionaires who have benefited the most. We have to create more of an equality. Now, pay attention to where this is going. Of course, the same billionaires are talking about are sitting in the room because they are the ones that are part of this World Economic Forum. So the Great Reset, I actually heard our Prime Minister talk about that on a Zoom call last year. And I kept sharing it because what he actually said was shocking to me. He says, and actually it was Fox News that highlighted it, and that's how I saw it. And basically, our Prime Minister was a Zoom call, was talking to somebody, we don't know who, and he said, the pandemic provided us with an opportunity for the Great Reset. Great Reset. So, and then he went on to say that how the equality and all this stuff. The whole thing became about basically a social agenda, right? And going back now, 20 years, and then what really happened the last 2 years in this Great Reset agenda of the World Economic Forum. Basically, what they're trying to do, this is why now they want to give up money, and they want to have these digital currencies, and they want to have one for digital currency and so forth. This is where cryptocurrency is blowing up now. And they allow that to happen because they want the cryptocurrencies, I guess, to get the world ready, because people are still used to money, right? Physical money. They want to switch everybody, and hey, Bitcoin took off, and then they, a lot. It's worldwide now, so now they want to have their own digital currency. I know the U.S. is working on their own. China already has their own. Many countries are coming with their own digital dollar or currency that they're using. And the digital is good. Why? Because they have full control over their people now. Doesn't matter where you're in the world. They can shut up, and you have to go report. Because at the end of the day, it eliminates control. You don't have money, go to the bank or the hotel or food or restaurant. You just, now you shut off on the app, and you have full control. That's part of this. But going back to this globalist agenda that's going on, and I don't know much about this global stuff, but I'm just kind of learning about it. One of the things that watching all these speakers in this World Economic Forum, it was a lot of talk about capitalism is a bad thing. Now, when I was raised, capitalism was a good thing, right? They could talk about, oh, capitalism is good, society is good. That's for the wealthiest credit, right? It's true. And they always say the communist countries, the social countries, that they didn't like capitalism. They want the state to take care of people. Communism, socialism. So that was always a bad thing when I grew up. But it's switching now. It's switching. Now, the whole thing about is the World Economic Forum. Remember, these are not just average people. These are the top billion wealthiest people in the world and heads of states. These are, every president, well, the G2, the big presidents are all present, and they're all at this one meeting in Switzerland deciding what's best for the world, right? All of a sudden, the conversation is changing. That capitalism is not the good thing, right? There's too much gap between the top and the bottom, so we need to basically, where they're going with this is that we need less businesses, right? And let the state take care of the people. Well, that's communism, right? And that's where it's going. Now, this is a shocking thing. If you don't believe me, in 2020, actually 2016, they put a video on their Facebook page, and you can actually YouTube this. And guess what? What's the whole thing? See, they've been working on it since 2016, so it's not a new thing, or maybe even before that. But basically, the whole mission of the World Economic Forum, here's a tagline. It's shocking to me. Here's a tagline, and the tagline is you will own nothing and be happy. You will own nothing and be happy. This is the actual tagline. You own nothing and be happy. So the billionaires, wealthiest people in the world are telling the rest of the world what's best for you. You own nothing, no businesses, you don't need homes, assets, or anything. Be happy. As a matter of fact, in that video, it clearly says you own nothing and be happy. And the short drone come down. You will rent everything as you need it. So going back 30 years of bits and pieces, right? I mean, this stuff takes time for it. And if you're paying attention, and all of a sudden our prime minister, the Great Reset last year, and now the whole thing is about you own nothing and you'll be happy, you rent everything. It kind of makes sense now why they keep shutting down the businesses during the pandemic. I was thinking this is not really a good thing. Like, why would the prime minister want to shut out the economy? Well, if the Great Reset means you own nothing and be happy, and like the big corporations, Facebooks of the world and Amazons of the world, let them provide, because they're in the same bag. It's World Economic Forum, right? So let the big corporations provide everything. We don't need independent businesses. We don't need intimate small restaurants. We don't need any of that, right? We don't need any of that. So let's become like China, where pretty much, the state, controls, the hospitals. And so, and here's the thing about it. Now, China has a lot of great things. They became a world power. But there are things about it's not good. I mean, every country has that, right? Every country has that. But one of the things, and the president of China was the main speaker in he started this year's forum as well, doing his speech. So the China model looks like where the Western countries now want to follow, and there's some problems with that. There's some problems with that. Number one is that everybody works for the large corporation or the government, right? So this idea that the old dream become self-employed, go open up a store, or open a traditional business, or e-commerce business, or MLM business. You don't need to do that. You just gotta go work for a large corporation and let the government take care of the rest. In other words, be very dependent. Don't be independent. And you think, okay, well, yeah, but I'm an entrepreneur, so I always want to own a business. We found out during this pandemic that we don't really have much control over that, did we? If we were not an MLM business, we'd be close to. We'd be close to. So the tagline, you will own nothing and be happy. That's the tagline. That's the World Economic Forum's tagline. You will own nothing and be happy. You will rent everything as you need it. That is crazy stuff. Because when you own things, and when they destroy the money, the monetary energy with inflation, your assets will go up in value too. Your assets will go up in value. That means when you own things, you create wealth. When you're self-employed, your monetary energy grows. When less and less people own businesses, that means they're becoming consumers, right? If you're not selling something, you're buying the same thing. If you're not selling, you're buying. So they want less sellers. Let the big corporations do the selling, the big corporations. And everybody should become a consumer. You will own nothing and be happy. I know this is deep stuff, guys, but that's what forensics is all about. So I look at this as, okay, so the agenda is, I understand now why a prime minister last year had this lockdown and he bragged about it. Oh, we're there for you, we'll back you up. No, you shut down the economy to make people more poorer, number one. You close the businesses, make people more needy. By printing money, you're raising inflation. That means you're killing the monetary value. So people who've got money in the bank, they're a lot poorer now than they were pre-pandemic. Of course, inflation is not a new thing. But if you can push the inflation of 15, 20% a year, people who had money or saved money, all of a sudden they become poor and poor very quickly. And they become very much needy towards the government's handouts on an annual basis. You will own nothing. You don't need to own a house. Just rent it. If you can't afford it, government, we're there for you. Of course, as long as we're paying for everything, you listen to us, and it's our rules. It's our rules. So this great reset, tried to research it, and it's very unclear because they keep it very vague. We don't know exactly what it is, but what they're saying is, but trust us, it's good for you. We know better. It's good for you. That's basically, they're the elites, right? We're the small people. They're the elites. They decide what's best for us, assets, what should go in our bodies, all this stuff, right? Even if people need to come, even if we need to ask for permission if our parents want to come and visit us. So at the end of the day, that's basically because they know better. They know better. So it makes sense. If that's your agenda, it makes sense to crash the economy. It just makes sense to crash the economy. It makes people poor, make people more needy. Of course, when you're more needy, you have no choice but to also become more obedient. Obedient. Listen to whatever they say. It just makes more sense. So, I don't know about you guys. I know you guys agree with this. People aren't the same anymore. Like I go to the same place I go to, restaurants, even a casino, people I know for years. And pre-pandemic, they were so different. I see them now, but it's like they're not happy to go back to work. 2 years, right? People got new habits. Government throws money at them. Hey, I stay home, right? Now, some of the smaller countries where you guys are at, they're not at a position of power to be doing some of this junk, right? So you probably have a better government than the bigger countries do. But the stronger governments, they want that control and power over the people. So people just don't want to go back to work. There's a big problem right now with hiring employees. I can tell you, we used to put an ad, you get 60 applications. You put an ad, now you're lucky you get 2. It's just weird. And you know what? Out of the 2, one says, "Oh, can you pay me cash under the table? Or when my serve runs out, that's when call me." That this is the book. This is I was gonna say this is what's been going on. Right? Nobody wants to work anymore. 2 years, the habits have changed. The government is throwing money at them, making them more needy. Nobody wants to work. So when you look at the shareholders of the World Economic Forum, you find, like I said, Google and Goldman Sachs and Bloomberg and Pfizer and all these big companies, who want people to be obedient. So how you do that is make him take away the independence, make him dependent. How they say that is that, well, there's too much gap between top and the bottom, so we need to close that gap. This is how they put it out there. What that really means is that let's kill everybody who has businesses and make them all, because we can print money, right? We can just print money. It doesn't matter if the inflation goes up. That means people get poorer and poorer, but at least now we have control over our people. I'm taking a look at this. I'm thinking, these people are so arrogant that in their own video on their Facebook, the tagline is, "You will own nothing and be happy." I don't know. Let's take a vote here on this on the Zoom as well as on YouTube. How many of you will be happy not owning anything? No, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm wrong. It won't make me happy. How many of you will be happy? The tagline is simple: you will own nothing and you'll be happy. You just rent everything. How many of you would be happy with that? Okay, I see Zoom is blowing. This time, usually it's YouTube, but this time Zoom is blowing up. Good for you, Zoom. So, see, it just makes now it's start to make some of this insanity is starting to make sense. Notice the government is not in a rush in reopening the economy. Look what you just did this week. So this week, they shut down in Canada and the US, I don't know which other parts of the world, they shut down basically the trucking industry. Big chunk of the trucking industry. We already have a supply chain issue. We already have employment issue. We already have inflation issue. What did they do? They shut down the trucking industry by taking out the unvaccinated people. So now we got 35,000 trucks who are sidelined this week. Well, if you're the prime minister and you want to make sure, if you're heads of state, you already have an inflation problem, you already have an employee problem, you already have a supply chain problem. If you guys try to buy anything or build anything or do renovation on your home, you know this. You have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks to get the stuff. 7 months we've been waiting to get some stuff for our home. 7 months. So if you have this issue already, it's a supply chain issue. What does it make sense to add to that problem by putting things in there? Oh, if you're unvaccinated, you cannot work as a hospital, be a doctor, be a nurse, be a trucker. The very most important things that we need as people. The very most, and they're attacking it. They're attacking it. So I was confused about this. I'm thinking, okay, I don't like, governments are all bad, whether they're all stupid anyways, but they have their agenda, power, and all this stuff. It just didn't make sense to me that they would attack the most important aspects of our economy during the pandemic. But then, if your agenda is you own nothing and be happy, rent everything, the government will take care of you. Then I guess it makes sense. You shut down the supply chain. close even more businesses because they can't get any products to sell. Inflation raise all the prices higher, so people don't buy any more than they need, or if you stop buying, that closes even more businesses, right? It's a nice little coordinated effort. If you want people to own nothing, then that's a very good way of doing it. Shut down the economy, skyrocket the inflation, kill the supply chain to double down and triple down on that, because you want people to be obedient. And it's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. Every major media that you know was this World Economic Forum. So they control the media. They're all shareholders. They control politics. They control all the big businesses. Of course, if you're a big corporation, you don't want all these small businesses competing with you. You want them all gone. You want all gone. So I suppose when you get an opportunity like a pandemic, it's a good time to shut down all the businesses and let the big guys take care of you. Wow. You will own nothing and be happy. Of course, the big banks and big billionaires are taking advantage of this. A shocking article. You guys should Google this stuff, right? Don't get scared from me, because I've done my research. You go do it yourself. The big corporates, a new phenomenon has been happening. And it's not, again, it's not new, but we didn't know till now. This was the first big alert for me. Bill Gates became, what does Bill Gates do, right? What does he do? He's in the software business, right? Of course, he's one of the biggest shareholders now in big pharma and vaccines, so it makes sense he made $20 billion last year. And that's fine. That's his investment. But the alarming part is, I don't like it, because obviously then gives him, he's just spent $370 million in media to promote the vaccine. That's fine. That's, again, I'm not worried about those things. Where is a major concern right now in the US? He became the biggest waterfront landowner in America. Land. Remember, you own nothing and be happy, right? So then I found Jeff Bezos, Amazon. He's buying land left and right. He's in the top 5 in the US. Why are these people buying land? You're already Amazon. You already got the world's largest corporation. Why do you keep buying? Why are these people gobbling all the land? And then another article I came across. See, all these articles come separately, and then when you run into something, it puts it all together. The biggest real estate companies, I found this because I have some stocks in this some companies that own real estate, right? And a new phenomenon that's been happening is that last little while. The biggest inventory real estate market, the homes you and I live in, right? The residential, the biggest buyers of these homes, they're not people like me and you. They're not users, they're corporations. Corporations are buying all the inventory that's on the market, and they're renting it out. And this is what's caused such an incredible, huge inflation on housing. People think they feel good, oh, my house went up in value. Okay, you have a house, good for you, but guess what? Vast majority of the world don't have a house. And as these homes go on the market, more and more corporations are picking them up too. So then now attach that to the scenario, you will own nothing and be happy. You'll rent everything. This is their tagline, not mine. Their tagline, right? You will own nothing, you'll be happy, and you will rent everything. So it's pretty clear what's going on. It's pretty clear what's going on. If you have 7 billion people on the planet, you have to control them. Well, where first you do that is you come up with scenarios. That you take away their liberty. If you can eliminate physical money and it's all digital, then we have full control of where they are, what they're doing. We keep on finding out. Actually, we just found out, this was on the news 2 weeks ago in Canada, that our prime minister was tracking 33 million cell phones during the pandemic, and they're not allowed to do that. So I did this Instagram on this. I said, in any other country, you'd be in jail. How does this even happen? They track your cell phone to see where you are without you even knowing. At the end of the day, this is what's going on. I've always said this is not our world we live in. We live in someone else's world, right? That's why I love MLM so much, because it gives us some of those freedoms that outside MLM you would never, ever have. So if you have a house, keep it. Don't turn nothing into fiat currency. If you got cash, keep only what you need for your family. The rest, put it into some type of investment. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you to put it in some type of investment, right? Don't keep cash, because they're deliberately crashing the value of the money. Deliberately, they're crashing it, right? So you want to make sure you don't keep physical cash in the bank. Put it into something else. I'm not a financial advisor, but call someone, get it into something else. All the land and the house are being bought by the big corporations. Soon everybody's going to be a renter. Not everybody, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The next generation, what chance do they have? It doesn't matter what city or country you're in, the real estate market, what's happened to housing? Who can afford next generation to buy a house? Just think about that. Who can afford? Right? So that's why they're buying everything, because they want to become the world's biggest landlords. Kind of wondering if this is why metaverse is getting so big, because soon people cannot buy anything physically. So what do? They spend their time online in metaverse, in a different world, and now that's where that's where everyone would hang out, because they really can't do anything outside. I don't know that. I'm just trying to add things that make sense to me. Businesses are getting shut down. Supply chains are getting shut down. Money printing, that's pretty much shut down the workforce, because people rather stay home than go back to the job. We can't get anybody. I'm telling you, guys, the whole thing is people rather stay home and not work. It's pretty much the China model. And one of the things I talk about, which is very alarming, the way it is in China. By the way, I love China. Like, I mean, I've been there. Beautiful. I love the people too. When I say China, it's not a country. I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about the way they run their country. By the way, and I don't even criticize the way they run their country, because they become the world's superpower. It works for them. I'm not sure if it's the best thing for all the people, but it works for them. And it's becoming now, they become a role model for people who talk democracy, like our prime minister here in Canada, U.S. Donald Trump very openly talked about China being the great, the way how they run their business. He loves the way Putin runs. This dictatorship thing is coming back in the name of democracy, because they know better. Us little people, we need to just follow their lead, right? So they're going to take away your liberties, which we found out during the pandemic. And with all these mandates, you don't have control over nothing you thought you had. And one of the things they're going to start establishing here, which is very scary to me, is a social status. Your social status, implementing what's called social status. And social status means that right now you have a credit score, right? Only banks get to see that. So if you have a good credit score, you get to get the loans, right? Lower rates. Imagine having something like that that's exposed to the world on social media everywhere, where you have a social status, and and the government sets that up, and your social status is based on how obedient you are. They already have that in China, by the way. So how obedient you are. I'm not blaming anything on China. This is all America. This is the World Economic Forum. I'm just saying they're kind of following now what really worked for them in China. So, but this is not about China. This is, if anything, America is the number one culprit in all this stuff. But our own prime minister in Canada, he's no better. He's his own sociopath, narcissist here in a milder thing. So I look at this as, okay, it doesn't matter. Look what's going on in Austria, right? Australia. It's just, so this is where so I look at the World Economic Forum because they all come together in one basket. In one basket. Plus the wealthiest people in the world. And they decide what's best for us. And the agenda isn't let's make people more independent. The agenda is let's make people more dependent. So, and when they're dependent, they're needy, and when we are the heroes that we provide, they become obedient. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. But then, I always come back to a smile. MLM. I've been saying this for 30 years. I wrote it in my book, The Forensic Networker. The last bastion of free enterprise. It truly is. It's been here for a while. But see, we had other options, so we never really noticed it until now. MLM, the last bastion of free enterprise, the last chance for the average person. Last chance to be dependent. Please do not bash China. I will not tolerate that. They're a great country and we owe a lot to them. And yes, they are selling us everything. And we thank God they do, because if they don't, you will have 1/3 of what you have in your house. Do not do that. I talk about the China model, okay? Which is there's a lot of great things about it. There are certain things that it's not best for the people, which now they're the main speaker being adopted by Canada and the US. So please, we will not tolerate that in this company. They're a great country. They're people like us. They don't make decisions. Before that, look, Russia has a lot of problems. My own country, Iran, they have a lot of problems with their, and I can tell you in Canada, they have a lot of problems right here in Canada. Not starting with the mandates that they're putting on, sending people home, foreign doctors and nurses who don't want to take their vaccine. So this is not a country problem. This is about World Economic Forum. I just happened to mention China's name because some of the policies are now being adopted, not because they forced it on people, no. So it's not them. They have this thing that worked for the government of China, and they're superpower in the world. And now other countries want it. So if you want to blame anybody, blame your own government, right? Because the World Economic Forum is about all the heads of states, but the main ones, I guess, and their top billionaires. Thank God for China. Everywhere I look in this office or in Iran, if it wasn't because of them, world will be 30, 50 years behind, because they made things possible. They've done a great job in a lot of things. This was not about them. It was about some of the policies that they're using. Now, the stuff that's not good, that I don't believe to be good, and now being adopted and sought by the other governments. So the social status thing, I don't see. If this was implemented here, my social status would be 0. Because how vocal I am about things the government does. So I am so for the people. I am so anti-control, and I don't even like to give it names: socialism and communism or Democrat. They're all the same, right? At the end of the day, in the name of democracy, we've had no freedom in this country. So I don't get derailed or deceived because of semantics. I don't look at what they call it. I look at what the action is. I had to close my gate so my son from Ottawa can come and visit me because he doesn't live with me, worrying about if someone's going to call the police and he doesn't live with me, and had to try to fight that. That's right here in Canada. So this call is not about a particular country. I'm trying to give information, some background on the information. And it all comes down to one thing, and that is the world, you know it, you've not been paying attention to it. It's changed quite rapidly I'm not that old. From my age, last 20 years, 30 years, I've seen it change rapidly. They needed a major event. They need major events to change laws. They did in 911, they changed all the security laws. And a lot of your liberties was taken away. I know in Canada and the US for sure. They come up with this Patriot Act, all these things where before they, if they want to apprehend somebody, before they need a reason, they need a court order. Because of that event, they have these new laws. They don't have to. They can come pick you up overnight, send you to Guantanamo in Cuba. We thought you making one phone call to your family saying you're gone. Those laws happened back in 911 days, right? A lot of people don't pay attention because it doesn't apply to them yet. Hopefully it doesn't. They needed this pandemic to, what our prime minister bragged about. He didn't invent it, but he bragged about. I guess it was after he went to the 2020 World Economic Forum, because he did he went on Zoom talking about the Great Reset. And the Great Reset is basically everybody should be the same. And the only way to do that is the government taking care of people, right? So you can call that whatever you want. Whatever you want. Now let's finish up on a good note, because all that junk is outside the walls of Opulence Globals. And we proved that during the pandemic. We're open every day. We took a call every day. We shipped every day. You make money every day. You sold every day. You recruited every day. If anything, we went from once a week in the meeting in the hotel to 35 meetings a week in different languages, different time zones. So I just give you what's going on in our world, so you have a greater appreciation of what you have in your hand. You're the chosen ones. You're one of the free, few, open-minded people who are actually ahead of the game. You're one of the few, the chosen ones. You have this unbelievable MLM platform in this beautiful Opulence package. So every junk I just talked about is outside the walls of Opulence. Unless you are living on the outside of walls of Opulence, it shouldn't apply to you. Because it can't shut down your business. Doesn't matter what they do. You're going to own your own business from home. The products delivered right to your door. Everything you need during the day, other than food, we provide here pretty much. To consume, to resell. The whole thing about the World Economic Forum is make people into consumers, not producers, not sellers, consumers. It's in the tagline. You own nothing, you'll be happy, you rent everything, a drone delivers something to your door. What do we offer? Independence. Not only you're going to consume here, deliver to your door, you're going to sell. We're gonna make you, and you're a seller here. And the only way to be ahead of the monetary energy of inflation and the velocity of inflation is when you sell. You have leverage, build a team, put your monetary energy together, stay ahead. Don't be at the same level, the needy level that the world is at and they want you to be, because you own nothing and you'll be happy. I don't think so. And we won't let 200, I don't know how many people are there. World Economic Forum, do a research on that. I just know the biggest and wealthiest people in the world and some heads of states, they do this every year in the name of finding solutions to make life better for the world. There's the same people that thought the lockdowns are good ideas, and there's the same people that buy the land, everything they can find. There's the same people that do lockdowns and push up inflation. If the inflation goes up, who gets poor? The government or you? No, you get poor. They just keep printing, right? When they kill the value of money, who becomes more needy? Is it the people? Is it the government? It's not the government. It's the people. If the business is shut down, more people require a check from the government. Who becomes poor? Is it the people or is it the government? It's the people. So our mandate in Opulence Global is we'll consume our own. Thank you very much. Deliver it directly to our door on a any method we want to order that, through internet or through calling in. We're going to get some good information, become better people, better version of ourselves, and we're going to reach as many people as we can, and we're going to help them make money and live the life that we have, and we're going to make a fortune doing it. We're going to make a fortune doing it. That's what happens within the walls of Opulence Global. But if you live, you may be here, but you're not really doing anything. You're not building your business. You're not living the culture within Opulence Global. That means you're on the outside of Opulence Global, then you're following their agenda. We already know what happened. I mean, you don't need to see more. They shut everything down, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's people on the street who I know personally got an $800 fine because him and his fiancée were driving around because of lockdown. They just want to get out. They got a fine $800 each because they're not supposed to be outside the house. Look what just happened in Austria this week. There's only 3 reasons why you can be outside the house if you're not vaccinated, they said. And guess what? One of them is not even work. You can't work. Forget that. Before it was 5 reasons, now it's only 3 reasons. I don't know if you're dying on something, you need to go to the hospital. So don't think you have control over anything. You don't. The truth is, we don't have control over anything. So the only thing we could take control over is be independent. Not just be a consumer, but be a seller. Not wait for government's handouts, because that doesn't take us anywhere. They give you a handout and killing the value of that handout with inflation, and then you become more poor and poorer and poorer and poorer. More needier and needier and needier. They can't shut down our internet business. They can't shut down MLM business. We have a great product. We know a lot of people. We can make sales. We got great products. There's a lot of people who need it. We can make money. We can sell. We can become a seller. Sell, promote, and give the same opportunity to other people to sell and promote, to become resellers, not being just consumers. They can't stop that. It's you, your business, within the borders of Opulence, in your home. And as long as you got the monetary energy that's greater than inflation, and monetary velocity is greater than inflation, you'll own things and you'll be happy. You will own things and you'll be happy. You own more homes, land, better cars. You will own things and be happy. Not their concept of you don't own anything. You own nothing. Exact wording. You own nothing and be happy. I don't know which jackwagon thought that's even a thing. But they know better. but they know better. We don't have to own anything. You just have to trust them, and we'll be happy. Not in Opulence Global. Not right here, not here. All right. I told you it's going to be intense. I told you it's going to be intense. I told you it's going to be intense. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, and share the link with everybody. Right? And you know what? Go research the stuff I tell you. I want you guys to get used to researching, because I know what you do. Research is not listening to your local news, guys. It isn't. Make YouTube your best friend and research, right? All right. I see it was it's a Zoom. You guys are kicking it tonight. Good for you. Zoom is usually, it's YouTube guys are leading the way, but no, Zoom is busting up tonight. Good. Maybe because I left my video on for you guys. So is that it? I need to put my video on for you guys every call. Is that it? Okay. I love you guys. You too. You guys as well. Thank you for being here. Back to you, Vern. If anyone wants to share something, and hey, it's your time now.
I mean, after a call like this, you ask yourself a few questions. What do I do? There's one thing of getting information, and what do you do with the information that you get? And I'm sitting here listening, and I'm saying these are the kinds of conversations CEOs of major corporations sit at a round table after playing golf or something like that, and they thrash it out at a round table. And here we are, persons from all over the world of different walks of life, sitting with a CEO from a major corporation, kicking ass on a call and bringing out true information, the information that we will never get on mainstream media, the kind of information that our governments truly do not want us to know about, the truth of what's happening in our local economies, regardless of where we are around the world. It's the truth for everyone. So I'm feeling immense gratitude right now for being in the right place at the right time with the right company, with the answer to all of the problems that are proposed right now all over the world. Whatever problem that you can talk about, there's a solution that you could get from Opulence Global. So the question to me first, and then to everyone else, is what do you do with it? What do you do? What do you use that information for? So I say, let's go out there and be loud. To have it already and not do anything about it does not separate us from those who don't have it. So to have it means we ought to use it and demonstrate what it is that it can do, where it can take us, and the difference it makes, regardless of what our governments decide or not decide. So I say we go out there, do it, and we own what we want to own and be happy with it, and not be one of those who be renting, telling us we're going to be happy with it. Ramin, it's always awesome being with you, spending time with you. It's never, ever, ever enough time, honestly. I know we have folks that are now, it's 5 a.m. for them, 3 a.m. for them, and they're on and they're not sleepy. Is because the food is just so good. So we really want to thank you, Ramin, for committing to us as a CEO. I don't know how many CEOs of MLM companies commit to doing this every week, but we are truly, truly grateful for your time, your passion, your conviction, and above everything else, the love that you have for us more than anything else in giving and giving and giving. So we have a lot of love coming from Zoom right now. Oh my gosh, the chat is blowing up saying thank you, feeling really, really good, Ramin. Let me see what the YouTubers are saying. You can see the YouTube screen. I can't see it right now.
Well, it's the same thing. A lot of hearts, lots of colors on the screen. People are, they need a conversation like this to open their eyes a little bit more. And it's an important chat. It's a very, very important chat. This is the type of conversations that probably happens behind the World Economic Forum, how to make people more needy and dependent, and how the few corporations can take care of the world and the government takes full control. Here, our conversation is how to stay independent within the walls of opulence, owning our own business, how we can continue to have the opportunity to sell things and make money. We can sell to many people and make money. And we haven't even talked about the leverage and how we get commissions and the MLM side of things. Just the fact that you could have things That exclusive, we could sell, make money, help other people to find the same independence, and you even get rewarded handsomely up to $4 million a year handsomely on that. You know, so that's what we do. They have their own meetings. We have our meetings every week, and I think we're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay. One of the lines that you started off tonight when you said it was like, I really never thought about that. When you think of the future and you think of your kids, you become worried as to what it's going to be, especially when you look at the climate of what's happening now. And it just had my heart go boop, boop. You know, if Ramin can be feeling that way, then it means that really I have truly been comfortable and I really need to wake up. And that's a true statement that many persons are not really looking at. But Ramin, thank you so much. We're moving into another realm, guys. We're moving into another world. We're moving into Web 3.0. This is where we're heading. And if you're not ready, get ready. Get yourself ready, because with or without you and me, we're going to Web 3.0, baby. Ramin, any final words before we close off?
Well, we're retesting the Web 3.0. We're going to have... we have first to our shareholders first, have them do the test by actually going through the process to be able to acquire some exit coin, which is a designer coin. And once they've done that, we're going to most likely, go to our qualified trainers, and these are the people who done the most, and then open it to our team. And before we open it to the world, we want to make sure that our Opulence family gets the first shot at this. It's our family, because once he opens up to the world, most likely it's going to be volatile, and the price can go crazy. So we want to make sure that, and I'll make sure that my Opulence family first gets a shot at this before the non-Opulence, before it goes outside the walls of Opulence. It's going to be released in the inside of the walls of Opulence. Yet another thing, another benefit that this company brings.
Privileges. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it all. See you back here with Ramin again on Tuesday next week. But before then, we will be together again on Saturday coming. We will be doing Night of the Stars, and Renee wants to repeat our compensation plan again, of course, by popular demand, because we know this is the GPS for most of us, if not all of us. And so I look forward to having you. We might have a special guest on Saturday from what I've been told. So you want to make sure you're on Saturday coming, because we have a massive release coming that you want to be there to hear firsthand. So guys, have an amazing day, amazing evening, amazing morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for making this call. My name is Denisha Charles Jones from St. Lucia, signing out from our Opulence Nation, Forensic Nation. To the billion, everyone, and stay forensic. Good night,
To the billion, stay forensic. Thank you, Vern. Good night, everybody.